I had a Star Wars lunchbox once.
That's a great way to start off the hot tags. Welcome to the lunch bag, lunchbox, hot tag, whatever you want to call this segment of the show. This is part two of episode 179, and we got a couple things to talk about. Let's get the kind of shitty one out of the way here. William Regal was getting harassment calls from St. Joseph's Medical Center in Houston, Texas, out of all things. He actually took it upon himself to tweet out basically like, yo, fuck these guys, can you tell them to knock it off, to all of his fans. Don't know why St. Joseph's Medical Center would be calling him, but I find that kind of funny, thinking that maybe they're calling up and asking for meatball parms and shit.
So what you're saying is he essentially did what we did to that guy when we revealed that his number was 201-567-4211.
Very much so. So apparently you can also call St. Joseph's Medical Center and that number if you want to fuck with people.
This is a good week for people who are trolls with phones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know what the calls were too, because he didn't really specify. But
Probably trying to get money out of him.
Can you do a make a wish?
Maybe they were just phoning him and playing "He's a Man" down the fucking speaker.
Like, what if this spawns a whole new thing where all these wrestlers keep getting these like prank phone calls? Somebody calls them up and they're like, he's like, "Hello, yeah, is this Isaac Yankum? Motherfucker, it's Kane. Can we do this call another time? I'm sorry. I'll call right back. Hi, is this Glenn?"
I wonder if anything ever came out of that time that Jim Ross's phone number leaked.
That's right. Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything about that, like him tweeting out like, "Change my number, don't bother calling it," or "I'm not going to give money."
Probably didn't want to draw
Joseph's.
attention to it.
Mm.
You got to know at least a couple people called it.
Yeah, probably like died off after a little bit though.
Some like diehard fans that are just trying to get JR to say their names or something like that. Charge them $10, give them a nickname.
Anyway, it's not cool to prank call William Regal. I mean, he put a fucking dwarf in the Regal stretch, and that should cement him from prank calls for the rest of his life.
Those are the rules.
Just saying.
Like, you call up what was it, 411, and you're like, "Yeah, can I have William Regal's number? I gotta prank him." They're like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir, we can't give that today. He put a dwarf in the Regal stretch." We don't like transferring numbers for those people.
And if they fucking said that back to you, what would you do? You'd be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I pretty much would.
Yeah, you're not gonna fucking argue with that, are you?
Especially if it's one of the automated machines, and it specifically says that. Let's talk about a more important hot tag, though. Seth Rollins' finisher has been banned. The Curb Stomp isn't going to be used anymore, and they're kind of dancing around this a little bit. There's a report coming out which is basically saying, look, we're not banning it. We just don't want him to ever use it again. Like, the semantics really fucking matter. But now he's using some faceplant move, and I missed it when we were watching Raw. But I went back and I checked it out, and that is not a finisher.
No.
Maybe a finisher for somebody who sucks and never gets to use their finisher, like a Heath Slater type. But no, that is like the same thing as fucking Christian does to set up half of his moves. Basically,
Give it a week, and I'll be using Randy Orton's old finisher, that fucking shitty overdrive that everyone used for a while.
Oh god, the one that fucking MVP did.
Yeah, the one where you put the leg over the head, suspend their arm up, and just kind of fall forwards.
Oh, God, no. That is one of the worst finishers. That makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, like, there's no fucking impact, but I could see him being a guy that ends up fucking using that. But they've got the move so over, though. The Curb Stomp, why the fuck would you want to get rid of it? It's like when they did it with the punt. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. And they set up for that amazing RKO at WrestleMania. Like, come on.
I don't know, any move, as much flack as I'm probably get for it, I actually totally expected this and am kind of supportive of it. I do think it was a very kick-ass looking move. We do have to consider the time that we're in now. They are very conscious towards young people.
Not if they get hit with the Curb Stomp.
Any move that they could easily see a child imitating that can do very serious harm, I mean, you could kill someone doing that move very easily. They're probably going to take it out. Not to mention, I think there is a very likely case that someone could, like, get it. Didn't Brock Lesnar break his nose or something doing that move?
You can get a fucking concussion from doing a back bump wrong. It's
Well,
ridiculous.
sure you can, but I'm saying like this one is very likely. I mean, you're stepping on a person's head. I bet you people didn't like it.
Yeah, like Mike said, I can understand why they well not banned it, but they're limiting the use of it, and it's exactly for that reason. In case kids want to try that at home, even though you're not supposed to try any of that at home. But it's one of those things. And I was just going to say that I'm glad they didn't outright ban it, because I'm okay with that. I don't need to see it on every episode of Raw, but I still think it should be brought out for special occasions. Like certain pay-per-views.
I think it'll be very much like Randy Orton's punt to the head, where like he's very desperate and like there's nothing else that he can do against his opponent that he's been feuding with for months. That's something that he could break out as a last call.
Exactly.
Now, I've never wrestled Eddie Guerrero, but I do know how to bump, and the reality of it is, for that move, there's no reason you should break your nose. If you break your nose, it's because you're bumping it wrong. You turn your head to the fucking side. It's not difficult. So that's all on Brock Lesnar. My attitude to bumps is, as long as you know how to work safely, it's a non-issue. So if you get hurt, it's your own fault.
If there's one move that should be banned, it's the figure 4, because when I did the figure 4, I dislocated my knee and had to have 9 knee operations, so fuck that move.
Sean, your knees just don't work.
Because I did a figure 4 wrong.
Are you sure you did a 4 and you didn't accidentally do a figure 5 or something?
Nah, I did a figure 4, my knee popped. It was gross.
You see, when it's hyperextended, that's when you stop turning. Fucking idiot.
Yeah. I got a fake ligament now holding my kneecap into place, so it's not too bad.
But I'm fine if they use it as a special move, kind of like how when Orton goes to the corner for the punt, everyone starts shitting their pants. But otherwise, I'm just not happy with this. Seth does it like Seth's got a great move set, but without the curb stomp, it does take a lot away from him.
Let's not forget, this wasn't his original finisher he used in WWE. He used to use that flying knee thing.
In addition, he used to use the one where it was like a sliced bread, except he didn't use the turnbuckle.
You mean like Callisto's move?
I forgot what Callisto uses.
It's Leon Del Sol, yeah, it is kind of like that.
It is the same move, yeah, so we can't use that anymore. Has Kenta come up with any other finishing moves? Most people just take one of those.
I'm sure he's got a new kick.
Just like the GTS. CM Punk's not on the company. Everybody was touting him as the next CM Punk. There you go.
How funny would that be if like they just decided to give the GTS to him instead of Kenta?
Oh, Jesus.
Kenta's just
You know what? They should. Imagine the amount of fucking heat he'd get for that.
That would be funny, though, because backstage, Kenta's like, oh, man, I can finally do one of my moves instead of just all those kicks that everybody's, what the fuck? You're going to give him.
Like, he starts speaking clear English and just cussing out fucking everybody.
Wait a minute, you're changing his name from Seth Rollins to Kenta Rollins? I couldn't keep that name.
But yeah, as far as Curb Stomps goes, not happy days.
Another thing that had been reported is that they wanted him to get a finisher that they can use out of nowhere, which to me, that's more of the Curb Stomp than this new thing.
Yeah, Curb Stomp was a perfect out of nowhere move.
I mean, like, yeah, you do have to be set up for it, but he's got to grab you and do this new finisher. Like, you can't kind of do a DDT out of nowhere, or like a face plant out of nowhere, or a neck breaker out of nowhere without the proper setup anyway, and there's less of a setup when it comes to the Curb Stomp.
The Curb Stomp was perfect for him because he's not a huge guy. But regardless of your size, and at least with his size, you can buy him stomping your face into the canvas as a legitimate move.
He should revert back to that turnbuckle move that he used on Royal Rumble.
The Phoenix Splash?
Yeah.
If he can learn how to fucking hit it, he goes like really fucking far with that shit.
I think they won't have him be using that anymore, or at least like not on a regular basis, because that kind of takes away from Neville.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah.
Good point.
Neville's got 120 other moves that he can do that make us go ooh and ah. Like the other day, just decided to 450 off a fucking barricade.
And that red arrow is never gonna be not amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I could see WWE having that kind of mentality. Big flippy move on top? That's Neville's thing.
Neville typically uses the Phoenix Splash from the middle rope too.
So I can't think of a finisher that would suit him well that hasn't been done already.
Oh, I know one. The Curb Stomp.
Yeah, like, if you were a really, like, a solid big guy, you could do a lot of power moves. Like, even Kevin Owens gets away with just doing the power bomb. You know, I would think that getting power bombed by Kevin Owens would put you down for the count. But when you're around Seth Rollins' height and stuff, that's kind of tough.
Like, I like his powerbomb into the turnbuckle, but he can't do that on everybody. The curb stomp he could do to every member of the roster, and that's what makes a good finisher.
Yeah, because you could do a super kick to anybody, you could do a stunner to anybody, but...
RKO?
Yeah, RKO to anybody, but you can't picture Seth Rollins doing any kind of a move where he needs to, like, pick somebody up if it's, like, you know, Mark Henry or something.
Well, again, those are the situations he could break out the Phoenix Splash and the Curb Stomp.
Yeah. I don't think this is the end of the world. I just think it's going to set him back a lot.
Hopefully he thinks of a better one than what we did this Monday.
He should just fuck with WWE and come up with just new finishers that are all, like, head stomping related.
Like he does the curb stomp that Paul Burchill used to do instead.
Or, like, he'll just do a... How about, has any of you seen that fucking moonsault, like, moonsault stomp to the stomach? It's fucking sweet. He should do that. He could pull that off.
I don't like that move.
Plus, we have a couple other stomps.
Wasn't someone else just doing that recently, too?
I know Finn Balor does the stomp from the turnbuckle, but he looks fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm. The Shining Wizard. There we go.
Yeah, Finn Balor should do a GTS.
As odd as it is, I always thought that an Enziguri could have been a finisher.
No. Jericho tried to do that for a while, just didn't get over.
I always thought it looks like it would hurt. I mean, the guy's kicking you in the back of the head.
It does hurt. I mean, as much as we hate on Del Rio, had a sick Enziguri.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, the only... Shit, I mean, he's the right size to do a Shining Wizard, I guess. Didn't make it look good, but...
AJ ain't around about it.
Nope.
Didn't give a fuck if AJ was there or not. Seth actually managed.
What if Seth Rollins takes both their moves? He does a Shining Wizard and a GTS.
And just breaks out the Anaconda Vice just for fuck you.
And a Black Widow.
Actually, Seth's the type of guy who could buy using the Black Widow.
Oh man, I kind of want to see this now. He starts wearing stars on his outfit and fucking
GTS look great. Down for the GTS.
So another hot tag here. This is something a little bit different. We just decided to do this in the middle of nowhere here, but it was suggested that based off of last week, we did that little end cap where we were talking about the difference between all the different types of gimmicks in WWE that are all the same. Someone, I can't remember who, might have been Silent Doom, suggested that we make that a regular segment of kind of like we pick a topic that we want to complain about and ways to fix it and stuff. What would you guys want that segment to be called? I'm kind of curious. For the fans and for you guys, if you have any ideas too on the panel.
A bunch of wrestling fans complain online.
Oh, they call that YouTube.
Oh. Cool.
You know, something simple like complaints department, or something gimmicky like if we throw that into the hot tags, is maybe like we do one quick one of those per week and we do like a heated up kind of thing or something. Or make that another special feature, kind of like the top rope list itself and all that kind of stuff. Like,
don't we already complain about shit all the time? Like, do we really need a segment dedicated to that? How about we have a segment dedicated about stuff we like?
Well, that's another way to take it. Now, there's a segment on Smark Out Moment, the cheap pop and the cheap heat of the week, and that's you take one positive and one negative from the past couple of days. Maybe we can transition that into this. I don't want to take that away from smarkoutmoment.com and from Ross, who does that every week.
Well, we could just do both.
Both what?
Let him write and do it. It's not going to hurt.
I'd rather have something different.
Yeah, well, fuck you.
So I'm curious, leave a comment below if you have any suggestions, if you want to see this kind of segment, if you have any titles that spring to your mind, or any ways to do that, if you want to see that as like part of the hot tags, or something separate, or I don't know, maybe just another thing on the website itself. Who knows? But any other topics you guys want to talk about before we end this?
Nah.
What's the deal with mallets?
I know, they're kind of like gavels, but they're mallets.
No, I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah, neither do I.
Tweet, tweet.
All right, guys. Those are the hot tags. Leave those comments below for all the different things that we talked about and anything else too. I don't care. I like reading them. So we are going to take a break with the rest hold, and we're going to come back and start talking about Extreme Rules. Stay tuned.